A moist fog clung to the air as Tom Bradley's weathered pickup rounded a bend in California's Sierra Nevada foothills. Dawn light filtered through towering pines, casting soft grey and gold hues across the damp road. Tom, now 68, breathed in the crisp October air, appreciating the stillness before another day at the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. As he neared the intersection where Forest Road 42 met Highway 108, a movement in the brushes caught his eye. He slowed, expecting perhaps a deer or bear. Instead, a large bobcat limped into view, its tawny coat matted, one rear leg dragging. Pain radiated from every deliberate step. But when their eyes locked, Tom froze. He recognized that intense golden gaze, worn yet unwavering. It was the same cub he had rescued and nurtured 7 years ago. How could Spirit have found this exact spot, hurt and alone? His throat tightened as emotion surged. Was this impossible reunion merely chance? Or had the bobcat remembered him all along? 7 autumns earlier, Tom had stumbled upon Spirit, no larger than a house cat, lying helpless on the asphalt with eyes barely open. It had been a simple supply run when he spotted the tiny bundle of spotted fur, crying for a mother who would never return. Without hesitation, Tom had wrapped the cub in his old hunting jacket and raced to the Northern California Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. For 6 months, he'd fed and cared for Spirit, watching the baby transform into a fierce young predator. When the time came, Tom carried Spirit deep into a protected wilderness area, opened the crate lid, and watched the young bobcat glance back only once before darting into the undergrowth. He had often wondered if Spirit had survived out there. Now, at the roadside, Spirit inched closer, every movement betraying agony. Tom's knuckles whitened as he rolled down the window. "Easy there, big fella," he whispered, voice thick with memory. The bobcat paused, mere feet away, swaying on its 3 good legs. Dried blood crusted a shoulder gash, and bite wounds oozed on its hips. Then Spirit lifted its head and fixed Tom with a look that sent chills up his spine. The unique rosette patterns glimmered beneath the grime. This was no stranger. This was his Spirit. Tom's voice cracked as he spoke the name, and the bobcat twitched its ears and made a low chuffing sound, the sound of a cub seeking comfort. Tears blurred Tom's vision. Spirit was reaching out, choosing him despite the pain. Carefully, Tom opened the door and knelt beside Spirit, who collapsed against the gravel. The bobcat pressed its head into Tom's leg, just as it had long ago. Tom's legs trembled as he examined the wounds. The deep shoulder gash was clean, likely from a cougar's claws. The bites on the rear legs looked infected. Spirit was thin, dehydrated, evidence of days spent struggling alone. "What brought you back here, old friend?" Tom murmured, stroking the matted fur. There was no answer, only the understanding that Spirit had traversed the wilderness to come home. Gently, Tom lifted the 30-pound adult bobcat, wrapping it in the same wool blanket he'd used as a cub. Spirit offered no resistance, as if trusting Tom completely. Once inside the truck, Tom fastened a seat belt around the bundled bobcat and raced toward the rehabilitation center. Every bump in the road jolted Spirit, but drew no reaction beyond a soft whimper. Tom dialed Dr. Sarah Michella's number, urgency evident in his voice. "It's Spirit. He's back, and he's hurt bad." The 30-minute drive felt eternal. Spirit's labored breathing and occasional soft moans tugged relentlessly at Tom's heart. These were not the sounds of a wild predator. They were cries of a vulnerable animal seeking refuge. At the center, Dr. Michella met them with a team. Together, they transferred Spirit onto an examination table. Blood tests revealed severe dehydration and infection from those bite wounds. Clear signs of the mountain lion encounter. "He's lucky to be alive," Dr. Michella said, cleaning and suturing wounds. Tom watched as she worked, every stitch a reminder that Spirit had once again placed his life in human hands. Over the following days, Tom kept vigil at Spirit's side, dozing on a chair next to the recovery cage. He reflected on the bond they shared. Expert guidance dictated minimal human contact, yet here was Spirit, choosing to trust despite his wild nature. On the 4th day, Spirit finally turned a corner. The fever broke and the bobcat, weak but determined, began to eat on his own. Tom hovered as Spirit wobbled to stand for the first time. Their eyes met, and Tom could swear he saw gratitude flicker in those golden depths. Spirit no longer paced, as if eager for freedom, but rather lingered near the caretaker's buildings. Dr. Michella admitted she'd never seen such behaviour. "He's physically capable of returning to the wild," she said, "but he doesn't want to." Tom nodded, recognising that Spirit's journey had changed him. This was not resignation. It was a choice born of memory and trust. Weeks passed, and Spirit settled into the centre's rhythm. During daylight hours, he roamed the property, lounging beneath oak trees or following Tom as he tended to other animals. Staff members grew accustomed to seeing a full-grown bobcat pad along behind Tom. Permits and regulations required careful documentation. Some worried about Spirit's influence on other patients. Yet Spirit thrived, marking territory respectfully, even bringing small prey gifts to Tom, an ancient feline gesture of affection. Tom, once a retired widower seeking purpose, now had renewed meaning. Through Spirit, he discovered that connections between species could transcend instincts. As autumn returned, Tom drove down the same mountain road once more, but this time, Spirit rode shotgun, not as a patient, but as a companion. They were en route to a local school where Tom would speak about wildlife conservation and the extraordinary bond he shared with Spirit. At the intersection, Tom paused, gazing at the spot where 2 rescues had occurred. Spirit pressed his head against the window, perhaps recalling his own journey. "Ready, old friend?" Tom asked. Spirit responded with a gentle nuzzle and a rumbling purr, a sound wild bobcats rarely make, reserved for moments of quiet trust. Over the years, Tom and Spirit became ambassadors of compassion, sharing their story at seminars, camps, and community gatherings. Visitors to the centre would often ask Tom to recount the tale of the bobcat who chose to return. Tom emphasised that true respect for wildlife meant honouring their wildness, even when forming bonds. Spirit lived at the centre for his remaining years, and Tom carried on volunteering until age 93. Then, on a foggy autumn morning much like the one when they first reunited, Tom passed away peacefully in his sleep. Spirit, curled beside his friend, died that same night, his heart apparently ceasing once Tom was gone. The next morning, staff discovered them side by side beneath the oak tree where they had spent so many afternoons. They were buried together. Headstone reading, Tom Bradley and Spirit, proof that love transcends all boundaries. At the intersection where Spirit first limped into Tom's life, a small roadside memorial now stands. Flowers, a plaque, and photos of man and bobcat walking together. Visitors often pause there at dawn, hoping to sense something magical in the mist. Some claim that as the light filters just right through the pines, you can glimpse an old man and a magnificent bobcat strolling hand in paw, an eternal testament to kindness, trust, and the unexpected miracles that arise when humans and wild hearts connect. In a world rife with divisions, Tom and Spirit's story remains a beacon of hope, a reminder that compassion knows no species and that sometimes the wild choose to trust us, revealing a bond that defies explanation. Their legacy lives on through the countless animals who now call the centre home, and the hundreds of volunteers inspired to bridge the gap between human and wild. Ultimately, the most astonishing truth of Spirit's return wasn't that he recognised the man who saved him. It was that their reunion unveiled the profound depths of connection possible between 2 hearts, one human and one wild, united by a single act of kindness.